Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. 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 Tune in to TLS. Yeah, tune in to TLS. It's the TLS show. Coming to you live from the TLS show.
Hey, welcome to Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast. Social commentary, hot topics, amazing guests with a ton of fun and shenanigans along the way. This week's podcast, we're discussing the drama around the Lovecraft Country and Marvel star Jonathan Majors. Then we're talking about how AI may be protecting people from police brutality. We're also paying respect to the late Jerry Springer. And we've got some news that may be a little hard to swallow. Oral sex causes cancer. All right, you can watch us live on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitch TV. We'll be checking your comments on YouTube and Facebook at TLSLiveShow or TLSShow.com. So those are the best places to watch if you want to be part of the conversation. All right, let me introduce you to my co-host, one of which is missing, but let me introduce you to this beautiful co-host. First up, we have our nature lover, gamer, rock star, coming to you from Ontario, Canada, Mr. Rob B. Rock. Muted.
I'm sorry. I'm not muted on the interface. It was my hardware that was muted. Gosh darn it. It's the evening of technical issues. No.
Really?
But no, happy Sunday, everyone. It's really great to be here. And for those of you who don't know, today is National Pet Parents Day. So this is a day of observance, the Sunday of every April, and recognizes pet parents who go the extra mile to care for their fur babies. So for all of those with fur babies, this is your day. Hey.
All right.
And on behalf of all your pets, thank you.
On behalf of all your...
They can't say it. They show you love. You know.
They do show you love.
Right? Exactly. I know that personally, our fur baby is very grateful that our little visitor is gone. Our granddaughter spent the night here Friday, and our poor
nice.
cat was having none of it, which is weird because...
What's your cat's name again?
She's Bast, named after Bastet, the Egyptian cat goddess.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I know. I'm nerdy that way. So.
Yeah. No comment. No.
Right. It's so weird because our granddaughter is just so gentle and loving with the cat. She comes in, she's quiet, she knows that she's skittish, she'll go get treats and feed her, but the cat was having none of it. But she was sleeping at the foot of the bed in her little pup tent that she's got.
Oh, that's cute.
And I guess so the cat just really was not happy about that at all. Was knocking over plastic bottles, meowing in the middle of the night, behavior that she never does. But we had a tiny snoring human in her space, so she wasn't happy about that.
So do you spend a lot of money on your cat? Are you one of those like crazy...
Oh, God, no.
Okay, because you're talking about some pop-up tents. I was like...
No, the pop-up tent for my granddaughter, please.
Oh, I thought you were talking cat.
No.
No. You don't spend that kind of money on that.
No. Yeah. But that's it. Spending some time with the little one was just so great. We took her to Comics North, which is a local comic book store that's been here for decades, to buy her first comic book.
Oh, nice.
So she
What'd you get?
She ended up getting something called Welcome to the Jam Animals. It's just in the living room, but it's just these cute little kawaii style animals that are drawn. And then she was reading through it, and then she's like, Grandpapa, there's stickers in this book. I was just like, oh, come on. I have never had a comic book with stickers. This is amazing.
That is pretty cool, actually. I like that.
Yeah. And she's just a blast now. She's turning 6 in about a week and a half. And just
nice.
Her observations about the world around her are just amusing, innocent, and spot on.
Unique.
Awesome.
Absolutely spot on. Yeah, love that kid.
All right. Next
Welcome
up.
back, Johnny.
Next up, Gianni's back. Our college student, model, business owner, streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, Gianni Storm.
Hey guys, I missed you. I have been suffering during this Mercury retrograde, so all of the electronics, I feel like I've had to get gas every single day for my car. Like it's just I don't know. I just can't wait till it's over. But I've been
Are you still in the
I've
same
been doing
neighborhood? Are
pretty
they
good.
siphoning your gas?
No, it's better over here. We're safe. We haven't had any issues. I'll let you guys know.
You're living in
No,
Murphy's
I've
Law.
been I swear I don't know what it is. It's just strange. But I've been doing good though. I actually yesterday went to a modeling casting
Oh,
and
nice.
it felt so interesting because I haven't went to a casting in years. And then as you guys know, I have this scar now. So I'm not self-conscious about it, but in the modeling world, you don't know what you're gonna get. Like I know that there's unique models, but I was just
Mhm.
kind of nervous, but I actually um, made the audition and I was supposed to go back
Awesome.
today, but I was told at the last minute. Like they told me literally last night, and I was like, I can't, that I can't do that. But
Oh.
the positive is that they have another one next Sunday, so I'll
Awesome.
be,
So, but you made the
and it's
audition.
earlier.
Congratulations. Good job.
Yes, yeah, I did. I knew I was gonna get it. Like my walk is crazy, of course.
Your walk is crazy. Nice. Look,
Those are
so
some of my favorite fail videos online on the catwalk.
we got some comments
know.
online. Latoya Blakely says, "Hey Rob, nicely done, Gianni. So sorry you couldn't make it." And Jacqueline Robinson's online. She says, "Good evening, everyone."
Ah,
All right,
the
and,
love.
it's a lot of love, of course.
It is.
I'm your host, Neo Nix. So I got to start out with a shout out to my nephew, Owen. He was actually just left. So we were dog sitting. You were talking about the fur babies. We were dog sitting for my sister-in-law. And sometime during the course of the day, my wife went to go pick him up from, I guess, my mother-in-law's house where she was staying. And so then we were basically turning to child care and dog care for a little while.
That's
But
awesome.
I want to give him a shout out
Sometimes
because
you gotta.
yeah, sometimes you just got to do it. But he's like a great kid. I mean, he's like one of the coolest kids I know, and he loves basketball.
Aw.
Then he started playing video games. Like my favorite video game, as you know, Rob, is Uncharted. So he started playing it, and I'm telling you, these kids, man, they just pick up the controller, and then they're like better than you are. It took me like years to
I
get
don't
good
get
at this
it.
game, and he just like,
They're
Oh my
born
God.
into
he's crushing people. I'm like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
He's only like what?
Watching
I think he's 10, 11 now.
my granddaughter play sandbox games like Human Fall Flat. There's no real objective other than trying to figure your way out through the level. And I mean, the games I grew up with were very linear. This is what you do, follow this path. Now it's just an open concept. And to hear the ideas that she's generating to try to overcome different obstacles, it's just like, man, like this is so neat. And she's 5 and she crushes it. Where it's like, Papa would not have thought of that. What? That's a great idea. Yes, let's do that.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. All right. All right, you back, Gianni? I just saw you.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw you drop off. All right, so you're all good. Let's get into some hot topics. We got some great hot topics today. So you got Jonathan Majors. Tell us what's
Mess.
going on, Johnny Storm.
Okay, guys. So here's a crazy celebrity story for you. Some of you guys know actor Jonathan Major. He was in Creed 3, Ant-Man, Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy. The third one, I believe. Well, he was arrested and charged back in March with strangulation, assault, and harassment allegations. And it was actually made by his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. So she told police that he hit and choked her. And this fight allegedly happened while the two of them were taking a taxi home from a bar. But Jonathan Major says she was hitting him, scratching and attacking him over like infidelity claims, supposedly, from his side. Medical experts' opinions on the altercation conclude that Grace Jabari was lying, but these weren't the actual doctors. These are just medical experts' opinions. But just earlier this month, it was reported that more women have actually come forward to accuse Jonathan Majors of abuse and apparently they're cooperating with Manhattan DA. Do you think Jonathan Majors' recent criminal allegations will have a long-term impact on his career in Hollywood? And how do you guys think this could affect his current roles in the industry?
Why don't you start us out, Robbie?
Sure. Johnny, I think it's really hard to predict the long-term impact that these allegations against Majors will have on his acting career, because it's going to come down to the outcome of any investigations or legal proceedings. Also, how the public and the entertainment industry responds to the allegations, right? So it's very possible that the allegations alone could negatively impact his reputation and impact future job opportunities, especially if they turn out to be true. But it's worth noting that Hollywood has been undergoing a cultural shift when it comes to these types of allegations of abuse, harassment, discrimination. And quite often we're finding the offenders are facing consequences for their actions. In terms of his current roles in the industry, it's really going to depend on the individual production companies and how they respond to the situation. But I found so with other people coming forward, that establishes some form of pattern. But for this particular one, I really found it interesting. And it'll be interesting to see what comes out in trial or if it's going to be settled. But his legal team does claim that they've got a video that exonerates him and they have a witness to the incident. So if it was happening in the back of a taxi, and the taxi driver is a witness, and most of them have cameras in them. So then you've got the video evidence. He maintains that he didn't hit his girlfriend, that she's the one that became violent, and that's already been established, and that he acted in self-defense. As a rule, I don't hit people, but if you start yelling, screaming, and striking at me, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to push you back. I'm going to retaliate in kind.
Naturally.
With a measured response. If someone's considerably smaller than me, I'm not going to smack them around because Majors is a fair-sized dude.
He is.
And, he and his legal team have reportedly been cooperating with law enforcement, and he's offered to take a polygraph test to prove his innocence. So this is an interesting one, and I want to see how it plays out. But like you said, Nia, with the extra allegations that people coming forward, it makes things more questionable for sure.
Do you think people like bandwagon stuff? I'm sorry, Neo, to interrupt you, but do you think people kind of like I'm not saying this is the case with R. Kelly, but that's the first thing that popped to my head. Like when one person or two people came out and then 30 other people, and then some of them
that's
weren't
tough
even true.
though, because you got like Bill Cosby, where 100 women or so. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but
a lot.
But came forward because he had actually allegedly assaulted that number of women. Am I surprised that more women are coming forward? No, I mean, because it's an opportunity to take, to get some money. I mean, even if they're lying or not lying or whatever, I mean, they could be telling the truth. I don't want to assume that they're not telling the truth. I don't want to assume that.
Of course.
And that's one of the allegations. It is one of the allegations that Majors is making, is that the accusations against him were fabricated in an attempt to extort money from him.
Mm-hmm. Which, it kind of makes sense. But
That's an obvious defense, though.
There's some comments online I want to get to real quick. Well, first, Latoya Blakely wanted to say that, hey, somebody shout out the DC Defenders. They're headed to the XFL Championship. All right. But she also says, these kids, I'm sorry. She also says, yo, this is crazy. My friend and I were talking about him the other day. I think so, Gianni. Look at Columbus Short. One allegation by his ex-wife, and we have barely seen or heard from him since. Who's Columbus Short? Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Who's that? I don't know who.
He was, you wouldn't know the movies he played in, but it was kind of like the BET Hollywood type movies.
Okay.
Columbus Short. Wow, yeah, that was a good reference.
Jacqueline Robbins says he was just getting on. Immediate job opportunities will probably dry up.
I was thinking that.
As for long-term prospects, it depends on the outcome of the case. So, I don't know. I was highly disappointed about the allegations because I've been a fan of Major since Lovecraft. I mean, when he came out, he was so good in Lovecraft.
He was in Lovecraft.
So good. I thought he was amazing. Then he was in that movie Harder They Fall, and then he was in Ant-Man, and everything he's done, I mean, spot on acting skills. I mean, he is
Mhm.
so
Yeah, he's
good.
great. He's a
Um,
good.
He has a great presence.
Yeah.
He
Now,
does.
to answer your question, do I think this will negatively impact his career? I think it will, even if he comes out innocent. I mean, that dude was about to blow up. Like his character, like on Kang
Oh
Reed?
yeah,
the
Kang.
Conqueror,
Oh,
he was
Kang
like
is a huge character.
he was like Thanos in all those previous Marvel movies. So he was going to be across all the Marvel movies. And you get something like this, Disney's going to be like, I don't know. I mean, there are rumors that they already started writing him out of some of the scripts. I mean, they're rumors, but we don't know. But I think there'll
Probably
always be
true.
questions looming. You know, everyone's career gets affected by allegations like this, even if it's untrue. Now,
Yeah.
do I believe he did it? I don't know. You know, it's hard to tell. You know,
yeah.
but I do want to mention one thing, right?
Knows.
Because I looked up some numbers, right? People forget that women are violent too, mostly because it's underreported. We kind of
True.
forget. You know, like think of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Amber Heard was off
Oh my
the
God.
chain, right? I mean, Johnny
Mhm.
Depp, it was some mutual stuff going on there, but Amber Heard
Right.
was off the chain, right? Um, but
Problem.
Major's story is plausible, right? That he cheated on a woman and his girlfriend became pissed. I mean,
And they were drinking
not
that night. Alcohol
far-fetched.
was involved. Alcohol was involved. And that's
No.
absolutely a contributing factor when people make bad decisions when they're under the influence. Just saying, especially when they're emotional.
you know, I told you guys in the past that I was in a relationship where I I was with someone who was physically
Oh
aggressive.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I looked up some
Remember.
numbers, right? So police reports, so the national police reports and emergency room records indicate that women are 75 to 90% of the victims in reported domestic abuse cases. Reported. But then there's been several studies, and there's one back in 2006 that said when looking at the physical and psychological aggression between cohabitating couples with young children, it indicated that there were instances of violence were initiated by men 23% of the time, while instances of minor aggressions that were ignited by women in 33% of the cases. So more often, women, initiated the aggression. And then it said in the more severe cases, it was 8.4 men.
It's not funny.
I mean, and 11% women in the more, I mean, the study also revealed that most often cited reason for male initiated aggression was female physical aggression, while for female initiated aggression, it was male verbal aggression.
Wow.
So they got
I
mad
can
because of
see
something
that.
the man said versus something they
can see
actually
that.
did.
Right.
And I think that we've all been witnesses to those types of events. I think we've all seen that over
For
the course of
sure.
our lifetime.
Yeah, because you know, even in
I've
movies, you
been
see
in those
men get
events.
slapped like it's nothing. You know, like that's just normal. But
Right?
let
Slap, 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 slap. I can't believe you
Yeah.
did this. What the hell? Hands off. No hitting. Bad touch.
Yeah.
there was
it's
so
true.
I got one more study. So there was one more study where they found that they did a larger group of people, and they found about 25% of men, 25% of women kind of initiated. It was almost half and half, right? No, the other 50% was interesting because they considered mutually, they were mutually initiated the violence, right?
Okay.
And they found that mutual violent relationships were most likely to result in injuries to women. Makes sense, right? However, women who participated in mutually violent behavior with their male partners were more likely to display a pattern of repeated violence than men. Men's violence was more likely to be isolated and unlikely to be repeated. Now, those again,
that's strange.
those are percentages. That doesn't mean that everybody fits
That's
into those
interesting.
percentages. But
Yeah. Right. That's true.
it's when you're looking at the numbers, the surveys, the studies, it's actually showing that more often women are the aggressors in
That
domestic
it's a
violence.
pattern of retaliation.
Repeated.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the numbers. Even though more women report, physical violence, obviously, and it results in more injuries, as we mentioned. But
I will say, from personal experience and growing up around plenty of women and all aunts and stuff like that, women are very violent. So these numbers definitely do not surprise me. But I don't know. They're really kind of like shocking numbers, but but it doesn't surprise me that women abusing men goes underreported. Like it's not as reported as much,
Mhm.
and women being more of the abusers is not reported as much. But I've seen that very commonly, very
Yeah.
very common. Or it's like you said, mutual.
Yeah, like when I
Yeah,
was
what I found interesting is when you said mutual, it was at about 25% each. So to me, that
Right.
indicates that people,
No.
regardless of gender, can be crappy with their partners, with their significant others.
Half and half.
So,
Right.
right, if that's kind of a measured response where, if you're two aggressive people, okay, well, if it's an equal response, I found that kind of interesting
Yeah.
as far as the studies are concerned.
yeah.
Yeah, the numbers are interesting.
But I will say, like as a man, like, having been in my my previous relationship where the woman was the aggressive one, it's kind of hard when you're like telling your family and your friends and your stuff, and because they start
Oh,
looking at
yeah,
you
sure.
like,
What's wrong
sure,
with you?
sure, it was her,
Yeah.
and they start wondering in the back of their minds, even though they want to trust you and believe you, they still have those questions. You get scrutinized more, especially like someone like me. I grew up with a violent childhood, and usually that ends up either you're a violent person or you're a victim. You either turn
Yeah.
out, and it turns out
Yep.
I was the other way around. So, but people always inherently question. So I could see for years him being questioned about whether or not. And then the other thing we failed to mention was the racial aspect of this.
Yep.
Because white girl tears all over again. I mean, we know, and then the stereotypes. Think about like the first thing that comes to your mind when you see Jonathan Majors and that small white girl. It's like
Yeah.
Mandingo man attacks a helpless little white woman. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
image that you
Yeah.
get in your head, and that's the stereotype that people build in their minds. And so, it's like he has a greater burden of proof because of his race, gender, and physical stature than this woman does. So she can say that, hey, I was beat up by Jonathan Majors. He has to be the one to prove he didn't. And I don't know. I don't know if that's
he
fair to
does.
him. But with that being said, I don't know if he did it or not. He could
Right.
be
If he did
a
it.
crappy dude. He really
If he
could be a
didn't do
crappy
it.
dude. Because some of these actors are crazy. Some of these actors are like, you really don't know them until you really
A
know
lot
them.
of them.
So
Yeah.
he could be a crappy dude. So but I don't want to rush to judgment. That's all I want to say. That's all my point was.
You got to see
Okay.
the evidence.
All right. So
Exactly.
Okay. So Columbus Short was in Stomp the Yard. Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
That was the movie. I was gonna say Step Up. I
Stomp
forgot.
the Yard. I
didn't
know
wanna get it
exactly who
wrong.
you're talking about now. Okay. Oh, Jack
Yeah,
Robinson says
Columbus
that
Short.
body though. Woo. Yeah, Olivia agreed with that. She's like, "Yep."
Yeah.
All right. Jacqueline Robinson also says, "Young men aren't taught to walk away anymore. If you get in their face, some of them will slap you in the middle of next week." That's true.
They will. They will. The younger guys,
That's
they
true.
do not care. Their mothers are different. They taught them differently. I'll just say that.
That's very true. I mean, that is one of the things that they're not taught, because I was taught to walk away. So
Yeah.
it's sort of take it. You're a man, you can't hit a woman. So I always heeded that. I'm a man, I can't hit a woman, and I never would. But with that being said, having been in a situation where I was hit, and I'm like, well, I didn't hit back, but I certainly defended myself. Get off me, and those type of things. But
Of course.
Mhm.
Of course.
But with that being said, I could have been in a situation where she was like calling the police on me and being like, and I was the one put in jail when I was not aggressive at all. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yep.
All
Could have
right.
turned bad.
Is this truth, lies, shenanigans?
Ooh, I don't know. Is it truth or
Well-
I think it's both a truth and a lie.
Yeah, I
Somebody's
think we
lying
got some
and
truth
somebody's
and lies, which makes it shenanigans.
Yeah, today it's shenanigans, because both sides of this coin are claiming the truth. So that's shenanigans.
And I don't know. It's so hard to really tell. I just think we need more. There does seem to be more proof leaning towards Jonathan Majors' story. I will say that.
Well,
much.
that's it. If he has a witness and
Okay.
if their story is that they have a witness and a video that exonerates him, then yeah, this happened inside the cab, and they have a full document of what happened.
Yeah. So it is more leaning that
So-
he's not this evil dude that they're making him out to be. So, but we'll see.
We'll see.
All right. We'll see. All right. Let's get
Who's
to our next
after
topic.
him?
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, people. Brace yourselves for a
Uh-oh.
or a jaw-dropping discussion. People magazine reported that oral sex is a leading factor in throat cancer, a throat cancer
Yikes.
epidemic. Dr. Hisham Mahana says people with 6 or more lifetime oral sex partners are 8.5 times more likely to develop throat cancer. The cancer is caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV, which can be transmitted through oral sex. And she says it is leading to a huge surge in throat cancer cases, especially among middle-aged men. All right, guys, before you dive in, my question is, does this mean everyone should just be quitting on the foreplay? And keep in mind, we are trying to keep this a family podcast, so I'm going to ask you to please be careful what comes out of your mouth.
Ah!
Okay. We'll start with Gianni.
Are we about to experience an oral lesson on what not to do? Okay, so this honestly though, this just makes me want to be celibate in every way, shape, or form. I just feel like there's
Wow.
Yeah, that's you guys don't
No
think
oral
this is
sex for
crazy?
you? But no oral sex for
No,
you?
dude.
What?
No, this is gross. I don't want cancer of the throat. I I read a little bit into it. It said that throat cancer used to be something more because of like smoking and tobacco and stuff. But HPV has become like the leading thing that has caused the throat cancer.
Mhm.
And the fact that it's
Right.
linked to oral sex sounds almost like sinful. Like that sounds so evil, but
But I mean, now it did say that it was
It's
mostly
the number
men.
of partners with HPV that you come into contact with. So the
right.
more partners you have, come on, let's be honest. Let's not just let's keep going, please.
you can't be like promiscuous.
But
So-
the thing
so you
is,
got-
it's mostly men catching it. So it didn't clarify whether or not this was gay men,
What?
but it's men. It's men are more likely to get the throat cancer. I think it's like 2.8% times more likely or something like that. But with that being said,
Oh my
that
God.
means that men should
Men
be
be
less
careful
likely
out
going
there.
down on women. It sounds like to me. I'm just curious how you feel about that.
That sounds untrue. No. It says
But are
the
you
more-
okay with it?
It says to be.
If they start giving guidance out that says, men to avoid this throat cancer, men need to stop going down on women. How do you feel about that?
Oh,
That-
come on.
that's-
Then I
see,
feel
that's-
like it's white men in power flexing their freaking power. If
Yeah.
that comes through as legislation, that's bull.
Why are you
You're-
trying to restrict
white-
the family? No, I don't like that. I think that honestly, it said that the number of partners. So as long as you have like a girlfriend, a wife, you shoot, have at her. Like I don't know, like you don't need to like go to multiple people. That's where the problem comes in. So this is actually a test of like not monogamy. Is it monogamy? Like
Monogamy,
being
mhm.
faithful.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
All
That's
right,
what
V,
this
go
is.
ahead. Yeah, let me let you get in here. Rob.
like, shut up, man. Like, please don't ruin a good thing.
What?
Yeah,
It was
seriously.
an interesting article. I felt it was an
Oh,
interesting article to
absolutely.
bring to light.
Absolutely. I've always thought of myself as a cunning linguist, and I wanted to approach this in a tongue-in-cheek manner, but I decided to tread lightly because, like oral sex, one slip of the tongue and I could find myself in some real shit. So I'm so glad that the intro landed well. I was
That's good.
afraid that I might choke under pressure.
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
Consistent.
But
That was good.
You're a cunning linguist, huh?
That was good.
But I'm glad that we've covered some of the actual facts because oral sex does carry some degree of risk for STIs. It's a sexual activity. The risk of
Yeah.
transmission varies depending on several factors, like we were talking about the number of sexual partners, the use of protection, such as condoms or dental dams, the presence of any existing STIs, because, like Neo said, HPV can be transmitted through oral sex, and it is the leading source of throat cancer, which is scary. But vaccination against HPV and practicing safe sex can reduce the risk of transmission. It's like anything else. If you're engaging in sexuality and sexual behavior, be safe. So ultimately, whether oral sex is safe depends on the individuals involved and the precautions they take to protect themselves. I know that this can be a lot to swallow, but if we come together safely, we can end this.
Nice.
It's a lot to
No,
swallow.
that was good. It was filled with puns. That was really good.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right, so I think it's the
So much
same with
poetic.
limiting your sexual activity, your risk anyway, with any sexually transmitted disease. You know, it's the value of limiting the number of relationships that you have. So, you know, and keep those relationships. Stop going down on the first date. You know, the heck, just make that a special thing for the special person you're with. You know what I'm saying?
Good one, Neo.
When you
That was a
when you
good-
have an idea that you
good
want this
advice.
relationship to go somewhere, then
Yeah. Then you
Do-
you
You
start
trust
getting
Do your
into it.
thing.
You ain't gotta go on everybody. You know.
but on date one, what are you doing?
It's
do you
sad. This is sad.
You know, the report did, of course, say that it was more likely that men were getting this, but it didn't specify whether or not it was from oral sex from men, or it didn't specify.
Dude,
Maybe
it
it's
doesn't
new,
matter. It's
so-
the it's the
That's the thing.
HPV.
That's the thing.
It's the
It doesn't
HPV.
even matter. You know.
Whether you got it from one or the other, it's still HPV.
Yeah.
HPV, they said, is very common, but I think there's like the HPV like STI. I guess you can get it in your throat apparently, and in your genital areas.
and in your pause.
Like, what is that? How do I describe that? No,
I know.
but
You mentioned dental dams, Rob, but I was reading that dental dams aren't very effective against HPV. I mean, it's more effective than nothing, obviously.
right.
Exactly. I mean, it's something. It's something rather than nothing. And we're just talking about, and I'm just throwing out precautions that they are providing, that they're guiding the public to use.
Yeah.
Celibate. But if you have a partner, you guys have people. I'm talking about for the single folk. If you're single, this is probably for single people because I don't see anybody in a relationship.
Dude,
Oh.
this is for young people. This is a cautionary tale
Yeah,
for young
because
people. Like Neo said,
after
don't go
26, you can't even
down
get the
on the
vaccine.
first date. Because and I'm sorry, once you reach a certain point in your life, you've had X amount of sexual partners. There's no going back on it.
You already have
So,
HPV.
Now this is exactly. So this is just a cautionary tale for
True.
people who are
Wow.
starting to experiment. Limit your sexual activity. Yeah, sure, it's great, it's fun, it feels amazing.
Not that
yes,
fun.
you're going to get better at it, but be safe while you're figuring it out.
Most of the population already has HPV. Actually,
Point.
most of the
Yep.
adult population.
That's the most.
Yeah.
It's the most common STI.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
gross.
One thing I did want to say was that they did say that CDC did say that they couldn't tell if it was the throat cancer was a combination of risk factors. So it
Right.
could be,
I read that.
HPV along with smoking.
Smoking.
So just keep that in mind, smoking and vaping. So, all right, we got some
God.
comments online. Let's
A lot of
go
people
back.
still vape.
Michael Wolf says Michael Douglas said that was how he got throat cancer. Oral sex going down.
What?
Latoya Blake says this is straight up shenanigans. Fuck People magazine. This is amazing.
Oh, it's from People magazine? Okay. Wait a minute.
She said I haven't had that many partners anyway, so I'm all good. If they stop going
Lucky.
down, I stop. It's just that damn simple. But she's out. She said exactly, Gianni. I'm so good on all of that. I'd rather be celibate than popping
Yeah.
up with, at my age, almost 40, with some crazy stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
Now, see,
that's fair.
you feel a hot mess.
Jacqueline
Yeah.
Robinson made a good point. She said there was an epidemic of HPV throat infections among high school students a few years ago. The students wanted to remain virgins and figured they could engage in this particular activity without harm.
Ew.
Well, they try to find all kinds of loopholes, don't they?
Loophole.
Okay.
Good job, Robbie. I like it. Those are all,
This
that's
is
nice.
straight up.
We're gonna end it on that one. This is
That's
truth,
what
lies,
this is.
shenanigans. I'll go with shenanigans. I need.
Shenanigans.
We still doing
It's when
some.
people
You know what? No. This has to be lies. Dirty, dirty lies. We have to stop
Yeah.
the spread of these lies.
The lies.
Good one.
Yeah. No, I'm still gonna do what we're gonna do. All right, Robbie.
Truth, lies,
Be
shenanigans.
careful.
You got
man.
some more uses for artificial intelligence. Go ahead.
I do. As we've discussed several times on our podcasts, police services need some type of reform, and we've been very curious and vocal about AI. In recent years, there has been a growing interest in using AI and big data to enhance policing practices. So, Trulio, a technology company based out of San Francisco, California, believes this technology is an indispensable tool to help police officers identify potential threats, provide situational awareness, and generate alerts for suspicious behavior. So one such technology that has gotten attention recently is the AI-powered police body camera. So it uses computer vision and deep learning algorithms to detect, analyze objects and people in real time. However, as with any new technology, there are potential concerns around privacy, bias, ethical considerations. So my question to you is, could AI be the tool that leads to better policing?
Start things off. So, while AI is awesome and clearly can help reduce police brutality and use of force to some extent, I still say it seems like a band-aid to me, right? And that's because it doesn't address the root causes of the issues. I think there's more underlying factors like racial and social inequities, definitely lack of proper training, and of course, accountability. Now, AI, obviously, this tool can help with accountability better because I would understand that, right now we're probably looking at about 0.1% of the actual videos out there, whereas this tool can actually review 100% of all the video and be able to take a look and see when there are problems. So, right now, accountability, we have none of that. Still, even with the cameras, there's really no accountability. So, but the thing is, over time, it's just a matter of learning how to fool the technology. I mean, that's all it's going to be. If we don't solve the other problems, all they got to do is figure out how to get around the technology. It's like with cameras. Like we have these cameras on the highways and things like that. All you got to do is learn when to stop. Learn where the cameras are. They started creating Google,
slow down.
Waze, let you know when the cameras are coming up. All you got to do is counteract the technology. And that's all that's going to happen if we're just dependent totally on AI. So ensuring that the police force receive proper training, de-escalation, culture sensitivity, better understanding of mental health issues, community policing, systematic issues like socioeconomic inequalities. These are the things we got to start looking at. So that's my thought. I love the AI. I love AI. I'm a big proponent of AI, but I just think I don't think it's enough. But it's a good start. Go ahead, Johnny.
I agree, but I kind of disagree in the sense where you said it's a band-aid. I think that it's more so just a early on tool. Like, I don't know how to describe that better, but a tool in a sense because it does hold accountability, but it also keeps record of, from what I'm understanding, certain language or language use, profanity, which I thought was interesting, but it keeps record. So it's almost like causing this like standard for other police. It's not just about accountability. It's almost like I said, kind of causing a system or a standard that really could cost you your job if you're a police officer. So it's like you're coming into this job knowing how you have to come. So I don't know. I think the traffic system is a good point, but that one's kind of harder to manage. But with this, I think that this is a good technology. But honestly, when I first heard it, I was like, is this a way to record and download like police behavior so they can make some type of RoboCop? Like, this is so weird. But I think if used intelligently and with a real purpose other than, let's catch these people and hold them accountable, it could really set a standard. I know that it's not in very many, it says 36%. Oh no. I know that it's not in very many police stations because of the affordability, but I think they could
But
use
you
it,
gotta,
honestly, especially the rural ones.
one thing I do want to say about this 36%. So this particular California Police Department was already doing very well when it came to use of force. So this was just an added thing. So basically, if they resolved one use of force issue, then they would get a high percentage rate anyway, because they had such
Oh, not that
so
big
so
deal there.
few use of force incidents. So if they solved one, then yeah, you get a 36%
That's a huge impact.
right. So I mean,
So that's not a
it's a
good
little bit skewed, but with that being
bias.
said, and the other nuance I want to point out is there's a difference between AI and machine learning. And actually, I think this is more of a machine learning that's being referred to
Right.
as AI, which machine
Right.
learning, there's a less intuitive nature to it. It's more of about, these are the parameters I want you to look for, find them, and that's what
Okay.
machine learning is about versus AI, which can actually act like a human and kind of take a look and start to see things that maybe you didn't specifically set parameters for,
Assign
and
it.
starts to
Okay.
notice somebody doing something different. So this is not exactly AI either. So I just wanted to point those two things out. But go ahead, Robbie.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, you pulled up those images while Johnny was speaking. If you could pull those up again, please. Yeah, so these are some of the metrics that it measures. So it rates police officers for risk behavior and professional behaviors. So formality, explanations, politeness, gratitude for your professionalism. So some of the interactions that are listed here. Hello, ma'am. I am Officer Smith with the Chicago Police Department. The reason I pulled you over is for doing 60 miles per hour in a 40 miles per hour zone. May I please see your license and registration? Thank you, ma'am. A very professional, courteous, polite interaction. And then in the risk category, they're looking for direct profanity, insults, threats, profanity. So, hey, dummy, sit down on this curb. I move you from here. If you move from here, I will break your legs. I don't give a expletive. F you, direct profanity. So these are risk behaviors. And if you're recording these interactions and the AI is recording these and giving you metrics on it, now you can identify things at the root. And the nice thing is it gives you a synopsis. So Officer Smith, with this interaction, 70% standard, 20% high, gives them a total of 90%. High professionalism, giving explanations, risky behavior, swore. So I think that if you are out in the field, and especially when you're in a hot situation, the adrenaline's going, you may not be fully aware of what's going on, of how you're reacting to things. So I think that having a good metrics tool like this to report on every interaction that you're having is a great way to improve. So I don't think that it's the
I
cure
agree.
for it, Neil,
Mhm.
but it is a wonderful tool where we can finally collect those metrics, and you bring in accountability when you have that. Because if you have an officer who is flagging risky behaviors consistently and the administration, their supervisors aren't taking action on it, then it falls squarely on them. You have that paper trail all the way. I think of someone like Derek Chauvin, where it came up that he had a rich history of aggressive behavior. Well, you know what? Problem officers like that could be identified early, and we could work to either train them better or to weed them out of the system. They can go into private security, but they don't need to be policing the citizenry because they're clearly not cut out for it. So I think this is a wonderful tool for identifying those bad apples and getting them out. And the cost, affordability, the lack of market penetration right now, it's not there. But if they can make it affordable and prolific, I think that this is a tool that can affect some real change over time.
I just think it needs to be supplement. It needs to be a supplemental tool or a complementary tool, because you still have to make sure they're trained properly, because even if this tool identifies something, it doesn't matter if you don't train them to do better, right? So,
But is there like a national thing that has a standard of how police are trained? Because aren't you supposed to be trained to be a police? Like how do you do that?
I don't think there's a national standard.
Okay.
But that's a good question.
No.
Should there be a national standard for
Yeah.
policing? And maybe, I mean, maybe that's something.
Maybe.
But then the states are going to fight that. You know, that's going to
Yeah,
be.
because Chicago is different than
Yeah, and I don't
College
know. There
Park.
should be I don't think it's right, and that's the thing because you don't know. Every locality is different. You know, if you're in
Right.
Montana, do you really need to have the same training that you have to have in New York? Probably not.
No.
So, is there a national standard that there are some things that we can probably
No, there-
standardize?
Yes, you need to have a national standard because even if you were to, if it's not like you said, like New York versus Montana, okay, but what if you have that scenario play out in Montana? You've never received that training,
True.
you've never received that nugget of knowledge.
Good point.
No, you need to have a national standard for policing so that it is across the board. And I don't understand policing and appointments and counties and sheriffs. It's crazy in the States. It's
Yeah.
the Wild West. You're voting for law enforcement? Shut up. No.
Yeah.
Put the right people in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah,
It's
we
not a
really need.
popularity
There
contest.
needs to be some police reform. I mean, like I say, this is a tool,
Oh, yeah.
a part of it, but you got to look at the role and responsibilities of law enforcement in our society. And right now, they get called for every little issue. You know, you got to start looking at alternative models, especially when it comes to like mental health issues. You got to start looking at other things. So
Yeah.
let's get these comments
Neighborhood
online.
watch.
We got a comment from Jacqueline Robinson. Why can't U.S. police officers undergo the type of training their counterparts receive in other countries? I worry that someone will find their way around the technology. And that's my concern. There's going to be
Yeah.
ways around it. It just can't be the only solution. That's my only concern. All right. Is this truth, lies, shenanigans? I got some truth.
I feel
going on.
like it's true. I feel like they're trying to make a step towards the right direction, even though it's
It's a good
like-
tool. It's a really good
It's
tool.
a step towards reform. It's a tool that can lead to reform if used properly.
If used properly, right? And it's not just
they have
cameras.
to take advantage of it.
I mean,
Right.
and actually, if you think about it, it is sort of like just right now. It's just cameras on the highway, but at least those cameras are getting reviewed. That because they want to make money off of it. But right now,
Right.
all those cameras that they're wearing and all that footage is not getting reviewed. It's just getting stored
Nope.
in case there's a problem. So,
Exactly.
To review
in
it
case it needs to be
afterwards,
brought
yeah.
into question. Yeah.
A great topic, Rob. All right, Johnny, you're up next.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
You wanted to talk about the death of an icon.
Yes. Jerry. I had to
Jerry,
I had to intro
Jerry.
that way. So maybe you guys have heard of the news this week that TV host Jerry Springer died peacefully at his home after a small battle with pancreatic cancer. He was 79.
Mm.
So we all know Jerry for his ratchet, maybe reality TV show. His show his show actually ended in 2018, and after 27 years, 4,000 episodes, and many people questioning Jerry Springer's role in the decline of American culture. Despite that, Jerry Springer's show was a ratings powerhouse.
Was.
So, Springer also told CNN one time that he did not mind being referred to as the grandfather of trash TV. So my question to you guys is, what is your opinion on Jerry Springer's impact on television and pop culture?
Well,
So like you were saying, Johnny, the Jerry Springer show was widely criticized for exploiting vulnerable guests,
Big time.
sensationalizing their personal problems for entertainment. But despite this, he provided a platform for people from a multitude of backgrounds and experiences to share their stories, their perspectives, and it helped break down taboos around topics like sex, relationship, LGBTQ issues. The show also addressed controversial issues and political topics such as abortion, rape, poverty, and sparked public discussions around these debates. So it also raised awareness on domestic violence, substance abuse, and it provided resources for those that were in need. It also highlighted the importance of freedom of speech and expression, while the show faced numerous attempts at censorship and cancellation. And Jerry Springer had a short political career. And it didn't really go anywhere, right?
Oh,
In
Cincinnati.
late 70s. In the late 70s, early 80s, he had a political stint. But
Aw.
he used his TV platform to advocate for progressive causes and social justice issues, LGBTQ rights, criminal justice reform. So, in the end, I think that he had a greater impact on American discourse than he would have had as a politician, so as a TV host. Also, he gave us Steve Wilkos, and the guy, I mean, what I loved about Jerry Springer, voted worst show on TV. And when they were voted the worst show on TV, they were unabashedly proud of it. It was plastered all over their sets. It was amazing.
That
It was
is
garbage
hilarious.
TV.
Steve Wilkos. Really?
Yes.
I love Steve
Yeah.
Wilkos.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
Yeah, that
God,
was
what's
a
wrong
fun
with
show.
you
It
people?
was depressing, but it was a depressing show. No,
What
but
is wrong with you
love that.
people?
I
Oh
love
my
Steve
goodness.
Wilkos.
I
How
used
about
to-
you, Neo?
I
It's
used
a
to watch-
good. It's a good measure to see how much I'm winning in life. I just tune into those shows, and then I see how
Right.
much I'm
That's a
actually
good
winning.
point.
That is. It helps you. It's therapeutic.
That's what that's funny. That's what my wife said about when she watches Ratchet TV. It makes her feel good about her life. I'm like, really? All right. I can't watch
I'm
that
not
My
Ratchet.
life's not so bad.
Right.
No, I watched Jerry Springer all the time back in the day, like in the early years when he first came out, because I thought it was fun, But at some point, it got to be just contrived fighting, and it just got to be boring to me. It was like, at first I thought people were fighting for real, and they probably were actually, but
In the beginning.
Some were scripted, some were acted. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it got to be like watching wrestling, and it's all fake, and you're like, I can't watch this crap anymore. I just can't. I don't know. But Jerry was good at what he did. He was good at what he did. I even tried to watch it later in the later years, and I couldn't. Just couldn't.
Me
And I
either.
knew it was fake, and I knew what was coming. It was the same thing every show.
Yeah,
But
it
anyway.
is. It's predictable.
But it's sad that
You know,
he's gone.
It's a smart move, though. He knew what he was doing in marketing that kind of like those kind of stories. Like everybody watched.
How'd you feel, Johnny? Because you really didn't
Um,
know Jerry Springer when he was back in the 80s. When did Jerry Springer still start? In the late 80s, early 90s?
I think late early 90s. Yeah, I think so. I mean,
So that was when the
course.
show was good.
in the beginning,
Yeah.
I didn't start
First
watching,
episode.
Jerry.
First
what is it?
episode of the Jerry Springer Show was September 30th, 1991.
91.
Oh, I was officially
Oh,
graduated high school at that point. Yikes.
I had not
that's
graduated
so
yet.
cute. So wait, did you guys watch it around that time when Jerry came out?
That was when it was
Really?
good. Mm-hmm.
That's so cute. I didn't watch until like 2005, 2006.
Yeah, you were
Oh.
watching reruns. We saw it as it was happening, as the debacle was happening. The
That's crazy.
spiral.
Yeah. And then
Kevin-
Maury came. So
Kevin Daxton confirmed 90s. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts, Johnny? Were you sad?
Yeah, because it's kind of like a little nostalgic, like a part of your childhood. You guys were older by then, so you didn't really care about him. But like when I was when I was growing up, it was part of the like in the background, like Maury and Jerry and my grandmother's soap operas and stuff like that. So it is it's sad, but he did live a long life. I mean, and he was famous and wealthy. So he had a good life, to be honest, but yes.
Bobby probably
It is
watched
sad.
soap operas too.
You know what? I only watched, it's funny you should mention it, because in high school, I started watching soap operas because all my female friends were watching them. And after about
Aw.
a week or two, I was just like, you know what? This is really
Right?
garbage. I hate this. But then I had worked a construction job years later, and I had worked 7/10s 2 months straight. So I was bagged by the end of it. So I chose not to work for a couple of
7
weeks.
tens are 7 days, 10 hours a
7
week.
10
days a
hour
week,
days?
10 hours. And I was commuting about
Whoa.
3 hours total. So they were long days. So then when I decided to just stop working for a short period, I was on the couch and then I started watching soap operas. And as I was watching it, I was just like, Okay, like this is years later and nothing's changed. I feel like I'm all caught up with the characters already. This is stupid TV. This is
It
just
is so
stupid
dumb.
TV.
I hate soap operas. I
Oh
never
my god.
understood it.
Yeah. So no, not a soap opera guy, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. Good for you. Because I think the same thing happened to me where I was off from school or something in the summer and I had nothing to do, and I started watching.
Oh
I think
yeah.
I watched As the World Turns or something like that, and I got
Young
into
and
it for a
the
little
Restless.
while, and I was like, "This is just dumb." I was just like, and I couldn't watch it. I went back to my cartoons.
Yeah, I love cartoons. I'll always go to that.
All right, let's get some comments online. This is a good little tidbit. Mike Wolf comes with a tidbit. We need Mike Wolf on more often. So Jerry Springer had to resign as a Cincinnati city councilman because he paid for a prostitute with a check. Did you know that?
Who else do we know
I
did
did
that?
not know that.
Donald Trump.
Did Trump do that? Oh yeah, sounds like a Trump move.
No. He
Wow.
paid hush money to a porn star. He didn't pay to have sex with her. He paid hush money.
Oh, this is a good point because
So embarrassing.
I think this is So Jacqueline Robinson says he actually started out wanting to help his guests, often referring them to counselors and other services. I remember that actually. However,
Ooh.
thanks
That's
to
what I'm
Ricky
saying.
Lake, his show took a trashy turn.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Ricky.
Really? After that,
I remember that. All right.
who's Ricky Lake?
Oh, tell you
I'm
what,
looking up
she's
Ricky
no
Lake.
Jerry.
No, she was not Jerry. All right. Jacqueline Robinson also said the producer skillfully manipulated guests in the green room. By the time they
Yes.
came out on stage, they were riled up, ready to fight. It fascinated me that women would fight over the ugliest, most trifling, stupidest men imaginable.
Oh my
It's true,
goodness,
though.
yes.
And vice
was like,
versa.
what?
And vice versa.
Right,
versa,
that's
for
true.
sure.
Vice versa, yes. Very true.
The craziest couples and situations. Like, yeah.
All right. Is this true?
I wish you had a
Live
clip.
Lies,
I wish you had a clip to show them for
Aw.
good old time's sake.
Poor
This is
Jerry.
true.
It's true.
Poor Jerry. Rest in peace, Jerry.
But like you said, Johnny,
Rest in peace,
he lived
Jerry.
a long life. He did what he wanted, so he rocked it, man. Well done, Jerry.
Oh yes. He lived
Oh yeah, Mike Wolf
life
says
on
Ricky
Instagram.
Lake was the star of the original Hairspray movie. You may remember her
Oh,
from
that's
there.
right.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
All
Okay.
right. All right.
I love
I tell you,
Hairspray.
Mike Wolf with the tidbits. All right.
So smart.
All right. Today's game is this month is National Poetry Month. So I thought I'd test out our knowledge on some poetry trivia.
Oh God.
All right, so
Mm.
we'll go
Only
around
know
the
Langston
horn.
Hughes.
And this trivia quiz is provided by the Washington Post, so you'll get a point for every correct answer, and the person with the most points wins the final thought for the show. All right. So I'm going to give the first one to Robbie. Or do you want the first one, Gianni? You want to start?
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
Oh, we'll give it to Rob. You can't.
I can
give
take
that.
back. I can do take backsies.
No, take that.
All right. Robbie,
Rob.
first question. Haiku typically consists of 3 lines with 5, 7, and 5 syllables. Often they contain seemingly straightforward observations about the world. Here's one example by Richard Wright. White caps on the bay, a broken signboard banging, in the April wind. Where did haiku originate? United States,
Interesting.
Japan, China, or England?
Japan.
It sounds
Japan.
Japanese. Yeah, it sounds Japanese.
That is correct. The sun shines brightly. You're a master of haiku. Japan is correct.
Nice. Good job, Rob.
That's good. That's
Gave
good.
the answer in a haiku. All right.
Oh,
All right,
Robert
Gianni.
Frost. Okay.
The Road Not Taken by American poet Robert Frost is one of the most famous poems in the United States. See if you can fill in the blank in these lines from the end of the poem. 2 roads blank in a wood, and I I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Would that be
A.
ran side by side, came together, diverged, went deep? So the road not taken. Two roads
Two roads ran side by side in a wood.
ran side by side in the wood. I already know the answer is incorrect.
Diverge.
No.
Oh, my goodness.
I wanted to win that one
Yes.
to make American people
Incorrect.
proud.
Incorrect. You make people proud. Two roads diverged
Sorry,
in
America.
the wood. Sorry, America. Kevin Thaxton
Wow,
got the
I should've
Japan
known that.
answer correct. All right. Next up is me. Number 3, Maya Angelou is known for her poetry, but she also won several
Wait,
major
wait,
entertainment
wait.
awards. Which awards has she won? Emmy Award, Grammy Award, Oscar Award, Tony Award. Don't know, actually. Maya Angelou. I'm going to say it's either
Not a
Grammy
Grammy.
or a Tony, I think. I don't really know. I don't have the answer to this one, so I'm gonna go with Grammy and assume that she had a poetry album or something. I was correct. Yes.
What?
Yes.
What? We can't see the answers.
Yeah, we
We
can't
see the
see.
answers.
Oh, the answers aren't up. Oh,
You
I'm
could've-
sorry.
you
I
could've-
didn't realize the answers weren't even up.
cheated.
Yeah, so it's just like, come on, man. He's making this up now.
No, I'm
He's
gonna show
get-
it to you. I'm gonna show it to you.
Yeah. Cheat.
See?
Neo's
This is
cheating
always
again.
right.
I didn't
Cheating
realize
again.
I didn't realize it'd come down. All right, so here we go. There you go.
Shoot.
She won a Grammy. Good for her.
Yep. Do you want to Grammy?
How?
Maya
She has
Maya
won three.
Angelou has won 3 Grammy Awards for recordings of her poems in the Best Spoken
yeah.
Word album category. So
Oh,
Kevin
yeah.
Thaxton had guessed Emmy, and he was wrong. All right,
Mm.
Robbie, you're up next.
Hey,
True or
Kevin.
false? Most of Shakespeare's plays, including Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet, are written in the form of poetry. True or false?
What?
Jeez. Well, at least it's
What does that
50-50.
Yeah, lucky you.
I'm going to say true from what I remember it seems to.
True, that is
Yeah.
correct. That is correct.
Interesting.
All right.
Oh, because it rhymes? Or, oh, okay. It says it.
Well, Shakespeare
iambic
usually wrote in a kind.
pentameter.
Oh, you're.
That's so funny because prior to the show, when Neo said it was going to be about poetry, I was like, the only thing I remember about poetry is from grade school, and that's iambic pentameter. So I love that it's come back full circle.
All right.
Full
So
circle.
Shakespeare usually wrote in a kind of poetry known as iambic pentameter. Typically, each line of his plays contains 10 syllables, and every other syllable is stressed or emphasized.
Interesting.
Consider this line from Romeo and Juliet. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if I
legendary.
said that in iambic pentameter, but
You did good. That was good.
It was definitely English. I'll give you that.
all right, Gianni.
It was
Which
something.
poet wrote Where the Sidewalk Ends, A Light in the Attic, as well as the picture book The Giving Tree? Would that be Shel
Ooh.
Silverstein, Dr. Seuss, Maurice Sendak, or Louis Sachar? I know 2 that it's
Oh
not.
my goodness.
Oh.
I don't think it's Dr. Seuss, and I don't think it's Sendak.
I would agree with you, actually.
I think it's Sherry Silverstein because I remember the little. I think it is. Please be it, so I don't look.
That is correct.
Yes.
Nice, Gianni. Score. Good job.
Make America proud. Make America proud.
Right.
Well done,
That's
Johnny.
right. Shel Silverstein. He was a poet, songwriter, and cartoonist. Well done,
Oh,
Gianni.
cool.
Amazing.
All right.
Nice.
So the only way that Gianni's still in it is if I can answer this. Oh, this is so easy.
This
Hope
is
you get it
easy.
incorrect.
All right. Baltimore
maybe you
Ravens
shouldn't
team was inspired by which American poet? Emily Dickinson, Langston Hughes, Walt Whitman, or Edgar Allan Poe? That would
Quote
be
the Raven.
Edgar
Nevermore.
Allan Poe. That is
Nevermore.
No
correct.
way.
All right.
Yeah.
Why?
Team was
You didn't
named
watch
after the
enough
Raven.
cartoons, man.
A poem by
Treehouse of
Baltimore
Horror.
resident Edgar Allan Poe. So in 1996, fans chose the name for the city's new team, which had been the Cleveland Browns. All right, Robbie,
Yeah.
we're going to take the last one together. All right?
Ooh.
Oh,
So
he
we're
was a
tied.
resident.
Sorry, you're out, right, Gianni.
Sorry, buddy.
In his book Lemonade, poet Bob Ratzka, I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm saying that right, showed that a whole poem could be made by rearranging the letters of a single word. Here's one example. Ball reaches
Ooh.
here, face is clear, cheers. Ooh. That poem uses
That was
letters
good.
from one word. What is that word?
Baseball.
I'm going with bleachers.
Oh, darn it. There's CH. You got it, Neo.
Am I right?
Bleacher.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yep.
bleachers.
Yay!
It's about baseball.
Yay! 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 Neo wins.
Good job, Leo.
So looking back,
Darn
we
it.
got Mike Wolf, Iambic Pentameter, Romeo and Juliet from Jacqueline Robinson, Kevin Thaxton guessed Shel Silverstein. He also guessed Poe, being from Baltimore. All right.
Marco.
I would have never in my life guessed that.
Let's close it out with some shout outs. All right, Gianni.
Shout out to my brother, my only brother in the world. I love you so much. He's having a baby boy. He just found out today. And congratulations. I love you and I can't wait to see you. Mwah.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Somebody's
that's
birthday.
amazing.
Aw, his first son.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Sweet.
My shout out is
Love.
to Barbara Morris of the UK, who, for her 90th birthday, went for a ride on a Harley Davidson. She had told her kids that if she ever made it to 90, that she would want to ride on the back of a Harley Davidson. And to her surprise, her kids made it happen with the help of a local biker gang.
Oh, that's
Nice.
nice.
That's
pretty-
cute.
Yeah, she used
I
to ride a
love
motorcycle as a
that.
young girl in her 50s. She's been riding, and then that's it. She's like, I want to feel the wind on my face one more time. And they made it happen. They took her out to a pub.
Her.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
That's a really good one.
Love that.
All right, so I wanna shout out Dennis Malik Barnes. He's a black 16-year-old New Orleans senior who's already earned 27 college credits and has a grade point average of 4.98.
Wow.
Dude's
Yes.
amazing. So far, he's gotten scholarship offers from about 130 universities, totaling
Wow.
$9 million. Dennis
Yes.
Malik Barnes, congratulations, buddy.
Wow.
Amazing, amazing.
Congratulations. That's amazing and very impressive.
Keep it up, man. That's
Yep.
amazing.
Good job.
All right.
Wow.
That is officially all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We hope you learned something, gained a new perspective, or simply had some laughs with us. We will be back recording our podcast next week, live as usual, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to check out our video clips. Subscribe to us on YouTube using TLSShow.com. And look for our official audio podcast episodes on Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. And I am the winner for the final thought for the show, but I'm going to turn it over to Rob B because he has a special closing thought for you.
Aw.
Thanks, my friend. So, for a final thought, I would like to quote the late, great Jerry Springer. Take care of yourself and each other.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'll cry.
Oh, well, thank you, Rob
so
B. Thank you,
cute.
Gianni. But most importantly, we always have to thank you for listening and watching our shenanigans each and every week. We'll see you next week.